Step into my hideaway, boys and ghouls, and we will discuss all the books I plan to read this October. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Nakia. Welcome to my channel. It is finally my favorite time of the year, October, spooky season. I could probably do a montage of me saying this every year, but it is what it is. I'm so excited. I am actually filming this at the end of September, but when you see this, we will be in it. We will be in October, and I am just loving it. So of course, I have to share with you all the books I plan to read this month. I have some short story collections and 2 2023 new horror book releases. So without further ado, you already know, let's get on into them. This first book should come as no surprise because this author has written one of my favorite horror books of all time. And I'm speaking of our very own Cameron Chaney. So you already know, first up is Fresh Hell, his new book that is part of the Autumn Crow High series. I'm so excited. Been waiting on this since last year. I know things happen. He has been a busy man, but it is finally time for us to get our hands on this book. Now, I have a Kindle copy, but I also will be getting a physical copy because I have to support Cameron Chaney. If you do not know who he is, other than being a horror author, he is also the host of the Library Macabre show here on YouTube, on BookTube, part of the horror community. You have to check out his channel if you have not already. He has one of, if not the best, horror book collection I have ever seen. I have told him many times I want to just be plopped in there, get a chair, and just start picking books off the shelf and just get comfy cozy like, you can leave me, I'm good. But anyway, back to the book. A little blurb about this book. It says, in the Autumn Crow High series, author Cameron Chaney takes you back to a town where every night is Halloween, while paying tribute to the young adult horror boom of the 1990s. And a little bit about this book. School is back in session at Autumn Crow High. Will the class of 1994 survive long enough to graduate, or will the cursed town of Autumn Crow devour them all? I can't wait. I'm so excited. I've already read a little bit of a sample, and I mean, this is going to be interesting. The thing I love about Cameron Chaney's writing is there is always messages in his stories, and I just can't wait to see what we're getting with this one. I am looking forward to this kicking off my spooky season. I'm sure I will be reading that this week, probably when you're watching this. Follow me on Goodreads to see. But let's move on to the next book, shall we? Now, usually for Halloween, I just love a bunch of short story collections. They're just easy for me to get through. You know, I can read a couple stories a day and just enjoy all month long. Plus, I will be dividing my time between watching a lot of horror movies, so this just gives me something else to break it up. But first up for my short horror story collections books that I will be reading is Small Horrors, a collection of 50 creepy stories by Darcy Coates. Now, I've already started this book. I got to about page 25 and I put a pause on it because I was like, you know what? I'm gonna save this for Halloween time. So I am looking forward to diving back into this book. And in case you don't know, this book is available on Kindle Unlimited. For those of you who have it, I will have all of these books linked below, of course. Now, a little bit about this book. It says, this is the realm of monsters and shifting shadows, where a single wrong step can plunge you into a terrifying fight for your life. And some stories included are Footsteps in the Night, Those Who Live in the Woods, Room for Rent, The Last Bus, Wax Museum, and In the Space Above the Wardrobe. Now, these are just some that I picked out where the titles caught my eye, but I am looking forward to getting back to this. I was enjoying it so far. And yeah, I pretty much, I get along with Darcy Coates. We're not enemies, so this should be fun. And let's move on to the next one. Setting the mood for this video, I have a horror ambiance playing on my TV so I can have that going while I'm doing this for you. I also have some spicy ginger tea to warm the soul. So let's continue. I noticed there's a trend with these first few books. They're all books by authors I've read from before, so this one is no exception. I will be reading Tales from the Southern Fried Crypt by Ronald Kelly. This is the second book in his Southern Fried Horror Tales series. I also read the first book, which is called Haunt of Southern Fried Fear, and I enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to this one too. Now, some titles from this collection that stood out to me are Beneath Black Bayou, Nolan's Haunted Crypt Tour, Saturday Night at Meemaw's, and the final feature. Now, I'm not sure if this is gonna give me summer vibes or whatever, but they're still short horror stories, so it will put me in the mood for Halloween regardless. I don't need all these books to take place during Halloween. I just need the spooky, creepy vibes. That's what I'm looking forward to. Let's move on. Now, this next one is called Tales from Valley View Cemetery by Brell and Sullivan. And I heard about this book through Elizabeth Sagewood. If you do not know her, she is a fellow horror booktuber here on BookTube, of course. I will have her link below, as well as Cameron Chaney and any other booktubers I talk about. But Elizabeth loves horror. She reads a lot of old school horror, YA horror, middle grade horror, and of course newer releases as well. So I always find out about good horror books from Elizabeth, and this one is no exception. Now, a little bit about this book. Tales from Valley View Cemetery contains 17 interconnected tales of terror, a collection of short horror stories written in the vein of the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark books. So you know that's up my alley. And some of the stories in this book that caught my eye are The Caretaker, All Hallows Eve, Easy Prey, and One Foot in the Grave. This one is also available on Kindle Unlimited. If you have a subscription, you can grab it for free. And this one is pretty short. I think it's about 150 pages, so it should be able to fly right through it. Let's move on. Next up, we have another short story collection. This one is called More Bones, Scary Stories from Around the World by Ariel North Olson. Now, I heard about this book through Cameron Chaney, so look, we got two things that have come from Cameron Chaney on this list. And a little bit about this book. Many of these tales go back hundreds of years and to the farthest corners of the earth. But as diverse as they are, they also reveal one important truth. Everyone loves a scary story. The authors have dug deeply, from Egypt to Iceland, to find the spookiest stories that are perfect to share around a campfire or at a sleepover. And some of the stories from this collection that stood out to me are The Severed Head, The Haunted Bell, The Witch of the Woods, and The Haunted Violin. Now, I love how all of these are like the something. It reminds me of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, so I am looking forward to this. I think this one is actually middle grade or something like that. If I'm wrong, I will correct myself here on the screen. So these should be nice and cozy, which is what I want. Now, next up, we have a 2023 release that a lot of you were reading during the month of September. Hint, hint. But I let a couple of you know in the comments that I was saving this one for October because I just thought it'd be better for me for spooky season. September was more for just fall, mystery, thriller, those kind of books. And I'm speaking of The September House by Carissa Orlando. I just talked about it in my most anticipated book releases for the second half of 2023 video. I will link it here. So we're not gonna go too deep. Plus, I don't wanna know too much. I just wanna get in. See what we working with. Now, I know this is a haunted house story, but this one is different. I know the main character of the story is a husband and wife, but the woman, the wife of the couple, she is determined to stay in this haunted house no matter what. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm hearing mixed reviews so far, but I don't care. I want to see what I think. So fingers crossed, and hopefully I get to it. I got a lot on this list. And lastly, what would Halloween be for me without some Berenstain Bears books? Of course. Now, both of these books are newer, meaning they came out like after the 80s and early 90s. So I don't know, we'll see. One is actually written by their son, so that one's gonna be different as well. But I'm looking forward to them nonetheless. First up, we have the Berenstain Bears Scouts, Ghost vs. Ghost. Now, I didn't even know there was a Berenstain Bears Scouts series, so this is all new to me. And this one was written by Stan and Jan Berenstain, but this one came out in 1996. So like I said, I was older. I didn't get to read this one, so we'll see what we're getting. Now, in this one, it says, The Bear Scouts go to the Great Grizzly Forest to win the Wilderness Survival Badge and find out that the woods are filled with ghosts. So I'm sure it'll be cute and perfect for this time of year. It'll be a palate cleanser probably. Then next we have the Berenstain Bears Big Halloween Party. And as I said, this one is written by their son, Mike Berenstain. This one actually just came out in 2021, so it's fresh and new. Now I know the illustrations will be slightly different because like I said, this one's done by their son, but I hope it gives me the same vibes as all my other Berenstain Bears books. And according to the blurb, it says, there will be a big Halloween parade, ghoulish games, a monstrous costume contest, and trick-or-treating for everyone. Oh, for everyone, that's what we want. So I think I have a good list that I will be able to stick with. I think in other years, I had a lot of novels on my list. And as I said, I've learned along the way that I just do better with short story collections. You know, I have a couple here, which like I said, I will start the month with Cameron Chaney's book. And I know as it gets closer to Halloween, I really like to have my short story collection. So I'm looking forward to it. And speaking of Cameron Chaney, per tradition, I will also be reading a story or two from Autumn Crow. And of course, my Scary Stories Treasury. These two I just have to pick up usually on Halloween day just to get me in the mood. And yeah, like I said, I'm so excited. So let me know in the comments down below, what are some of your October reading plans? You know I'm nosy, I wanna know. Also let me know if you have any plans for Halloween. I will be dressing up as I always do, and we do horror movies, all the good things. And as I said, I do horror movies all month, even when it's not Halloween. But during October, I have this new tradition where I try to watch horror movies that are new to me, and preferably older ones that I have just never seen. Like last year, I watched the original Night of the Living Dead movie for the first time. I know, I've actually never seen the first Friday the 13th movie. I know. So yeah, I have lots of movies to catch up on, and I have old classic ones I want to watch. So I have a long list, and then I also will just rewatch movies that I just don't even remember, like Scream 3. So anyway, like I said, let me know what your Halloween plans are, any horror movies you're looking forward to, all the things. And as I said, all the books that I mentioned will be linked below, as well as the booktubers I mentioned. And ways you can support my channel are also always linked below. You can donate towards coffee, tea, books for me to read, all the good things. And I didn't forget, if you want to let me know that you made this far in the video and or you don't have a comment, you can leave me. You already know any kind of horror, spooky emoji, jack-o'-lantern, ghost, vampire, whatever you want, whatever you associate with October. Surprise me. I love when you guys dig up some emojis I didn't even think of. It just tickles me. And yeah, I think that is all for this video, my beautiful spooky people. So until next time, snuggle up in your hideaway with a good spooky book. Unplug as much as possible, except for horror movies. Be kind to all kind, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.